with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Newberry.
Here.
Crowner.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Lees.
Here.
Young.
Here.
Are the mics on?
This right here?
Yep.
I think we are now.
There we go.
All right, is anyone wanting to make a change to the agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion and a second, so roll call, please.
Crowner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Young.
Aye.
Newberry.
Aye.
The agenda has been approved. The consent agenda, in many organizations that I've belonged to, we simply ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda, and that's what I would like the city council to do.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Young.
Aye.
Newberry.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Consent agenda has been approved. We'll look forward to staff reports, so I'll ask Greg if he'll begin.
I left my list on the desk, so let's see here. Budget wrapping up nicely. We've got two numbers that we're wrapping up. Things are looking pretty good. We had a meeting on the water tower this week, and hoping that is moving along and will be done, at least the water portion of it, prior to the street project starting in the spring. Let's see. I know there was at least one other thing on my list I wanted to bring up tonight. But all I have is budget on my mind right now, so I think I'll leave it at that.
Orientation, maybe?
Is that?
Do you want to talk about orientation?
Orientation?
Having that
Oh,
orientation.
orientation, yes. We're trying to get a date together, the new council members and the mayor to go through, briefly run through the orientation packet and then subsequently follow up and set up tours and a brief session with department heads. And if we need to set up individual dates, we can certainly do that, but if there's a particular date and time that we can get folks together, that would be ideal. But if not, we'll set up special or individual dates as well.
I know Kathy said she was available on Friday. Are you still available on Friday? And Ron comes in on Friday. Is anybody else possibly available Friday morning?
Sure.
This Friday?
Yeah.
I won't be here this Friday.
I'm out of
Oh,
town
you
this
will be-
Friday,
He's out of town this Friday.
if that makes a difference.
Next
No.
Friday? Then Kathy's going to be
Next week I've got Tuesday.
next Tuesday. Ron is not available till,
Afternoon,
but that's fine with me, like a 3.
3:30 maybe? Would that
Next
work?
Tuesday you're talking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to do something different in the afternoon?
Well, I got car auction at 5.
We can do something different. You said Mondays work for you?
Mondays work for me.
If you want to stop in Monday, we can do it separately.
Yeah. I don't think it's probably taking maybe an
The
hour at the
orientation-
most.
Or, yeah, half hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll make it work with whatever anybody else does. We'll make it work.
We'll try 2:30 or 3:30 on Tuesday. And then if that doesn't work, we can meet individually.
Yeah, we can make it work. We'll figure something out.
3:30 on Tuesday.
Tuesday, January 11th, orientation, and that's going to be a drive-around thing. That's
That,
That
I'm not
would be the
sure.
schedule with each of the departments. We want to get that to each of the sites, have a brief introduction to each of the departments. So we thought maybe on Tuesday we could look at some dates. Why we have you?
Oh, okay, so this is just
This is-
Kelly's gonna go
yeah.
over stuff, and
We've got-
then we'll schedule time
We've got a
after that.
pile to go
Perfect,
through.
okay.
Yeah,
Tuesday, yeah, go.
that is January 11th.
Public Works, Mike?
Just the normal working on snow. all weekend long and 3 days to clean up piles and move things. I think Kelly or Katie put something out on the website. Once again, just let citizens know that it works a lot smoother. If you have off-street parking, please pull your vehicles off the street. That's less trips for us. If you don't, and then you move and we come by, then we just put it back in everybody's driveway all the way down the street, and it's a lot quicker to get it done and easier for everybody straight up. That's about all I got.
Want to mention one thing, Mike, just the work you guys do the day after, bringing the loader in and kind of cleaning the corners and stuff. I think that does a really great job compared to other towns I've been driving in lately
Yeah.
that don't do that part.
It makes it better because, especially when you get that kind of a snow, usually we don't have 7.5, 8 inches, but you can't see around stop corners and stuff, and then you can't plow with the normal plows around the corners. You always end up with them big, that's why we got uniloaders and stuff running around cleaning up the corners on the street, moving all the piles off, putting them out of the way, and we try our best after all the sidewalks are shoveled. Usually we come in, we try not to get any back in the sidewalks at the openings, but it's just a big battle, and it hasn't helped with the temperatures and the winds. We were just out with the loader and the backhoe today because of the wind, pushing stuff back and winging, and we gelled up the backhoe out on Gear Avenue, in the middle of Gear Avenue. We were able to pull the filters, put fresh fuel in, we got her fired up and got back to shop, and at that point I pulled the loader off the street too, because the wind chill is worse more than temperatures on gelling up the diesel fuel. So I pulled them off because I thought we were safe with everything now, and we'll come in the morning and we'll probably have to get both those back out again for a while. Tomorrow's not going to be any warmer. I'm not going to have them out any longer than I have to, because that's no fun when you're standing out in that wind trying to ungel a machine and get it going, so.
Well, I've read on Facebook on several places, accolades to you and your crew for getting her done. And then on another separate note of that, I looked on the website, and is there just one person listed for snow removal? What do these people have to do? Do they need to call City Hall?
They need to fill out, there's just a short application to have all their contact information. They can fill it out here at City Hall and bring it in, and
You'll put them on the list.
I'm
but
sure
we'll
you
put them on the
put
list.
the
We have a
busy
lot of
man.
people calling, wanting names, but
Well, since we're talking about snow removal, I had a person call me and they live on West Avenue, or West Burlington Avenue, and, you know, it's a spot out there where the sidewalk is the road, you know, there's no green space in between, you know,
Well,
it's,
there's several of those. We got them on Houston, we got them there.
and the complaint was, or the problem was, is, you know, they went out and they cleaned it, and, you know, then we come by and we put the snow on there, and then the next time it's ice that's on there, and then they paid somebody 2 times, 3 times to clean it because they're 80 years old, 75 years old, this person is, and.
Been a discussion we've had more than once on what to do on those particular properties, but
So how do we do that? How do we take care of that?
don't know. I would have the same problem as what I discussed. I fight this under the overpasses going to
Yeah.
Walmart on GE. It's usually the second day, and I use the wing to get those, but I can't use the wing on where you're talking in yards, and I got the same issue. By the time I got to prioritize. I got to get the streets clean first and the alleys and move stuff. And by that time, whatever slop I've thrown off freezes, and there's really no way to get that off of those sidewalks. And I understand for those citizens that have them sidewalks on those streets that is a problem. We've had that discussion in here more than once. But I don't know what route we want to take or what we want to do.
Well, I was, you know, we're finding people for not cleaning the sidewalk. And then we come around and we fill it back up. You know, and now we're going to give them a ticket because we just filled it back up. And just think if that was your yard and you went out and cleaned it.
I have no argument with you on it, Johnny. We've had
I'm
this
not-
discussion before. I'm just saying, if somebody figure out a plan, but I don't have enough staff to follow my own snow plows around and then clean off sidewalks that I've put stuff back up on. By the time I get around back to it, it's froze down too.
I want to make this perfectly clear. I think you guys do a wonderful job. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, for them, how can we,
Then you're gonna have the issue if somehow I go back and clean that up,
Yeah.
then the rest of the citizens are gonna say, that's not fair, because you're cleaning all them and I'm still paying to do mine, so.
I
This
know.
is a
And-
discussion
and then
that
what
the
comes
council
next?
needs to figure out how you wanna address it or what you want to do. Do you wanna just let those people not clean theirs and make everybody, I don't know what the answer is.
John, when we were talking, from an enforcement perspective, I mean, there's going to have to be a reasonable piece to this. When Sean's out there taking a look at these, I mean, we know those streets, and, I mean, we can only expect somebody to do so much and to make a reasonable effort to clean off the sidewalk, put some salt down, and do their best to keep it clear, And if they've done that, if they've made that effort, they're not going to get cited. They're going to,
And exactly
was-
where you're talking about, Sunday, when I finished up in here, I came back in my personal vehicle to plow my mother's driveway and take care of it. And those citizens you're talking about on West Burlington Avenue had somebody hired and threw it back in the street. So
Where
I
else is
I
there to
had to
go?
pull over and explain to them who I was and that they need to shovel that up out of the street. And I don't think they were happy with me, and they didn't want to do it, but I'd already called Ringo, and Ringo showed up and told them I talked to them. They got in their truck, looked like they were going to leave until they seen the squad car, and then they both bailed out and grabbed shovels. And I explained to them, it does not do me any good, me and my guys, to put the effort we do to get down the concrete and get clean streets and a place for you to park your car, then you throw it right back out in the parking, and everybody drives on it, packs it down. I mean, somehow we gotta figure this out.
I just don't think we should fine them. I just don't think we should fine them if we're turning around and putting it right back on there,
That seems reasonable. I mean, it
Yeah.
really does.
How
How about if we have a discussion of this at a separate time?
well, we can, but, yeah.
The other possibility is maybe we could take a look at a review of any of those tickets, just to make sure that we haven't made a mistake and fine somebody when we really shouldn't have. That's either something the city manager could take a look at, or we could put it back on to Sean if he needed to also.
Did that person get ticketed, John?
No. The person that actually brought it to my attention actually was one of the 4 people that cleaned their own sidewalk. They had to do it a couple times because it came right back, and
And we've tried to explain that too, that
Oh, I
we're
know.
gonna make several trips, and it's best for people just to leave the end of your driveway and stuff alone until we've got curb to curb. And a lot of times that's the second day, because we're gonna come back because people won't move their cars and I can't get curb to curb. I'm cleaned up the best I can, they clean their sidewalks, and I got 6 vehicles moved, and I gotta come down the curb and clean it, and I just put it right back on their sidewalks. I mean, those citizens, maybe we shouldn't ticket or give them an extra 24-hour leeway before we do, so that once them cars move and I clean the sidewalk, then go back and look at those properties, let them wait until I'm done.
that's what
Because
I'm
if they
looking
leave
for.
the original snowfall there, then my chunks that fall on it, it's still gonna come off easier, it's not gonna freeze to the concrete. But, yeah, I mean, I'm in total agreement with you, but I don't know how you're gonna, I don't know what the answer is, or get people to do it right.
We have a snow removal policy that's been in place for years. It's gonna be in the orientation packet, so maybe that's something you can take a good look at when it comes out, and maybe look at some options there, but it's every year, the very same complaints about the plows putting snow back in their driveways, back on their sidewalks. That's the city's job, the responsibility is to make the streets passable. And that's what the guys are trying to do, and if they shovel their sidewalks and their driveways, they need to put it back onto their properties and not into the street, or it's going to end up even more in their driveways. They just need to put it back onto their own property.
And that's one of those places too, that there's a lot of parked cars that don't move till after the snow. And I know there's an alley behind the house, maybe they can't get them all off, but that's what I ask citizens too, and we put that out on social media, that the more vehicles, when you see in a forecast, a winter weather advisory and snow coming, if you just pull your vehicles up in your driveway or in your alley by your garage or something, that's less trips. We'll have that thing cleaned and gone, you'll clean your sidewalks, and we won't be back.
I just want to make sure that, I'm not complaining
Yeah.
that you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
You guys do a good job, okay? So, we just need to do something about that. So.
Okay, Jesse, for the police department?
Go on with what Mike said, we went around and tagged 13 vehicles on Monday that have not obviously moved. We have a 72-hour ordinance in town. I tagged 13 vehicles and they have until tomorrow to move or we'll tow the vehicles off. We try to make all effort to notify the owner of the vehicle if we know who they are, and a lot of times it may be somebody else's vehicle or whatever. We may not be able to notify everybody, but we'll call whoever duty towing company is, and they'll come in and remove the vehicles, and that helps out quite a bit. Brad got one of our units up, Unit 4, that we used a lot for. The reserves use it, but we used a lot of it for running back and forth from Des Moines for the new hirees that were going to the up there to Des Moines. We got that up, new computer in there. We rotated a computer into it, so we'll get that out on the fleet. So we're not putting so many miles on just a couple cars. We'll get another one in there, so hopefully that'll help out a little bit. I contacted the state of Iowa. They were able to get us some Narcan ordered for our department. It's very useful. Unfortunately, what happens is when we test drugs, sometimes it gets airborne, and an officer at the Des Moines County Sheriff's Department and an officer at Burlington Police Department have overdosed on fentanyl that they mix into that, and luckily on both of those instances the officers are fine, but they had to get hit with the Narcan. So we got several kits on hand. They'll be in the officers in our squad cars, along with where we process evidence, and we also made it where there has to be 2 officers present while an officer is processing the narcotics. So if something would happen, there'd be another officer there able to get help or whatever we need to do. So that's an unfortunate thing, but it's a good thing by the state. And on top of that, I got Officer McCampbell going to Des Moines for a 1-day training. It's just a 1-day training. He's going up the day of because the class starts at 9:30, so no hotel. It'll just be him traveling up and back real quick on 1 day, talking about fentanyl and other synthetic opiates, just to get more education back for our guys. So that's all I got going on.
Okay. Sean?
Well, I had a week off from Christmas to New Year's. Didn't mean I stayed at home. We did have that fire out by the truck stop. The property owner had cleaned it up and lit it up in the morning, and I received a phone call and went and looked. The wind was out of the east, and all the ash and everything, embers were blowing towards the truck stop. So no license to burn, so right there's a disqualifier, but the worst part was it was blowing towards the truck stop. That's the largest combustible pile out here. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. I love the mayor's suggestion of a work session for the sidewalks, the snow removal. Just a quick report on that. I counted 20 that did not touch their sidewalks at all. 20. 6 of them on West Burlington Avenue alone. There are 35 sidewalks that were cleaned, but the wind blew them back in. Mike's guys are going around, they cleaned it early, and they caught it. But that's not on the street department. But out of those 35, 30 of them were wind blown. So at this point in time, and I discussed it with Greg, we're doing, so on those 20 people, hi, you need to shovel your walk, please. It's just a simple warning. No citations have been issued. I haven't issued any. Kind of like when I'm doing nuisances, first time's free, second time's on you. It's, please take care of this, address this issue. If they're not addressing the issue and I have to come back again, then we look at more stiffer enforcement. With lawns, you get your notice. After the notice, I come back after X number of days. You haven't mowed your lawn yet. Is everything okay? No. Okay, let's get this done. And the third notice is then we send somebody to do it, and that's when they get the bill on that. So I think a work session is ideal for addressing this and how we want to approach it and everything. On the building side, beyond that, I'm working on a code review for the project of Ryan Nagraki at this point in time, just doing some checking on things. He had some questions, and I'm working on that. The fire department, we ended up with 647 calls for the year. Busy year. It came in like a lion and went out like a lion. So far this year, I'm not saying a word. But we're at 25 strong right now. We've got 2 juniors. I've got 4 more applicants for juniors at this time, high school students who are interested in learning about the fire department, that hopefully at some point in time will want to join the fire department and be able to give back to the community. So it was a good new year. We didn't go out as usual, so we're very grateful for that.
That's 674, what's normal?
If I said 674, I meant 647, 647, I'm sorry.
You said 647.
I said the
Said
other one, I'm sorry.
647. You said
Yeah, 647.
That's what I wrote down. That's what I wrote.
So what's normal?
What's normal? We average, I've seen anywhere since I've been chief at about 535 to 650. We're high. A lot of those calls, correct me if I'm wrong, Jesse, because your guys were going on it, the police officers were going on it too, were lift assists. Here in the latter months, were lift assists. COVID has really picked up. Just listening to Burlington going on the calls alone, COVID's really picking up. We're starting to get a lot more COVID notification calls, but most of our calls this last year were just our standard lift assists and fire-related calls, fire alarms. I would say, I like to always tell everyone we average 600, so we're up a little.
Yeah.
Kelly, any?
We have several appointments to various boards and commissions on the agenda tonight, but we do have the chamber, the convention and business bureaus kind of in charge of sports commission, and we had, Royce was on it before, and what they are in charge of, I guess, is distributing money that they receive from a grant, and a lot of it goes to different sporting related events around town. So they need somebody from the council, or some representative for the city that would sit on that board at some time. Doesn't have a lot of information about when they're going to be meeting again. It's not one that would meet regularly. It's kind of like maybe a couple meetings to distribute that money and done. So the Michael Dreer from the chamber will be at the next meeting to kind of give a little bit of a update from the Business Bureau CVB ward, and he can talk a little bit more about it. But if anybody's interested in doing that one,
Should I not be on that since I am on the committee to award the grant?
Well, I'm not sure. We can ask Michael. I don't know, before I was on the CVB and Royce was on that commission, but I'm not sure why if there's a reason it needs to be somebody different.
Okay.
It'd make more sense to have, since you're already down there, but.
Okay, we can talk about it.
And maybe they're looking for somebody specifically on council, and I wasn't on council when I was doing that. So we can talk to Michael, but that's one of them. And the other one is the Solid Waste Commission. I didn't put that one on here. Hans was always on the Solid Waste Commission.
Not always.
Well, he was the last one on the Solid Waste Commission. Before that, Greg was on the Solid Waste Commission. He's kind of doing that right now because they're doing an executive director search, so he's sitting on that. But normally, we have somebody represented on the Solid Waste Commission.
I'm happy to continue that unless somebody is excited and wants to learn about landfills. I've managed a few, but if anybody, it'd either be myself or a council member or the mayor. So.
Sounds like a place to have somebody knowledgeable, because it affects our environment, and I know you're environmentally conscious and concerned. You seem like the perfect person for the job, Greg.
Been there, done that, managed a few.
So I'll probably put something together to appoint Greg next time unless somebody wants to fight him for it. And the, let's see, another one, there's a Resource Enhancement and Protection, Commission. I reached out to the chairman and they have not met for quite a while, but when there is money available, then they would need somebody, it would be the mayor or his designee to sit on that commission. So I don't think there's a really need to appoint anybody at the moment, but it's one that's out there if we need to down the road, so.
I'd do that one. I was to their meeting in the fall already, so
Okay,
I
that's great.
get the gist of what it's supposed to be about.
That's it.
That's it? Okay. Angie?
No, nothing, just
Okay.
working on the budget.
Any other reports we should have for this? Let's see, at this point, I believe we have a report from our airport director. Is that correct?
And the packet she's gonna be talking about tonight is attached in your agenda, on your agenda, so that's what she's gonna go over, yeah.
Good afternoon, evening, I guess. Well, I first want to, I think most of you are aware of the airport and what we provide, but I want to bring it to your attention that the business travel, it's shifted to a lot of charters coming in through there. In fact, recently there was an Embraer that came in with 29 people on it, which is pretty outstanding to have that big a jet come in. But anyway, those numbers, we've seen a lot of these jets coming in and they're taking on fuel, which is great because that brings money into the area. But I noticed a lot of them are chartering jets because they don't want their people flying commercially yet. So that's one of those that we're just going to have to kind of sit and wait and see what they're going to do once things open back up a little freer. On the aviation destinations, you can see that it's scattered out everywhere. We fully believe that's going to transition and be even bigger because of the change that we're getting ready to make. So with that, I want to talk about, you know, we have other services that are provided out there. We have the charter services, of course, and flight training. There's been a lot of flight training over the last year. Jet Air does that. They have a trainer right on staff at Burlington Airport. Fuel sales has been pretty incredible this year. Although now fuel's going sky high, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. If that'll slow some of these guys down from flying, we don't know. We've seen a lot of the military aircraft. National Guard come down from Quad Cities and they come and do exercises on the apron there. You know, I couldn't tell you what the exercises were, but they all get off, they do different things, and then they flip the helicopters around and they load back up, and kind of interesting to see them do that. But so the commercial air operations, we put that out to bid this last year. We had 3 different ones, Air Choice 1, Cape Air, and Southern Airways that all bid on that. And we had a public meeting at the library, invited everyone to attend who wanted to. They all presented. We spent the next week kind of mulling over all the information and made the decision to recommend that we change to Cape Air. So that recommendation was made to Washington, D.C., to the Essential Air Service group out there. And they came back in November and awarded it to Cape Air. So we are switching carriers February 1st. This carrier has all the code share, the baggage agreements. If you want to go to Chicago and St. Louis only, I suggest you get on just Cape Air and book that. But If you want to go anywhere else, you can get on American Airlines website, United website, Expedia, and plug in that you want to go from Burlington to Charlotte, and it's going to book your flight on Cape Air out of here all the way through. Full service itinerary through their system. And bags checked all the way to the other end, which is something that I know people have wanted, and I feel like this is a good thing. We've had a lot of people comment and ask and are excited about it, so we're looking to see the numbers come up. I think that's part of the numbers we've been missing over the last few years. So, the pilots will be stationed right here. The planes are specific to this location. So, they're actually talking about putting 3 planes here, so that way if there's something wrong with one, they'll have a third. Or it needs serviced or whatever the case might be. So, I think this is a good thing for the community. I really do. So other airport activity, the Avis car rental, that went through the roof this year. I mean, she couldn't keep cars in there. People were renting cars instead of flying, obviously. Of course, we get a concession off of those. You know, we have the FAA tech there, which has been very helpful as we were trying to close out this 1836 project, which is still not closed out, waiting for one more change order to decide how they want to fund that one. If you see the numbers over here on the commercial service, it is an increase over last year by 40%, but it's still not at the level we need to get it to, so we'll be working tirelessly to get Cape Air's name out there to see if we can pull some more customers in. We've seen, like I said, a lot of larger jets coming in with more passengers per jet on the general aviation side of it. I think one of them in particular is tied to ConAgra down toward Fort Madison. I think they come in about every week, rent cars every week. It's kind of strange. They all get on the same plane, but they all rent single cars. I don't understand it, but so going into the projects that were completed, we did the terminal roof replacement. So we've completely finished the outside of the terminal. It's got new siding, new doors, new windows, and a new roof. So down the road here, we'll be working toward the inside of it again. We did some pavement in front of a hangar, row E hangar, the corporate hangars. We did, of course, marketing. We get those dollars and we've distributed that out, and we try to spread it everywhere from Mount Pleasant, clear to Monmouth. We've even done some Fairfield, a lot of Burlington, south to Keokuk, Fort Madison, trying to pull in anybody we can to fly with us. On the federal projects, as I mentioned about, well, we did do the demolition of property on Summer Street through the FAA, and as that turned out, the FAA threw that into a bucket to be 100% covered instead of the normal 90-10. We reconstructed 1836. That project's been going on now for, what, 2-3 years. And as I said, it's up and running. Everything's good. The only thing is we're waiting to see on this one change order that was basically a cost increase to finish something that FAA couldn't get there, so the price of everything went up in that year's time, and the contractor wants compensated for it. So it's just a matter of trying to figure out where the FAA wants to pull the dollars from. So projects slated for 22, we're in the middle of doing a design and bidding on taxiway B. That runs parallel with 1230. $2 million project. We have received $2.4 million in entitlements to be used toward that. We've pulled 160,000 of that entitlement money paid for basically up there on the demolition. We have the air service development program again for marketing. And we're planning to do some more pavement work around the hangars. And currently, in the hangars, we have 38 out of the 43 rented. And there were times that we had pushed it up to 40, and we were starting to get a little nervous whether we were going to have space for everyone. And, but a couple of them pulled back over to Monmouth area. So, as you can see the budget here, we pretty much have stayed about the same. We thought about lowering actually the utilities because we've seen our utilities drop down between the siding, the windows. We've put LED in about every building for lighting. But then I got a little nervous about lowering that with the utilities going up right now. Then we have the chemicals and the diesel gas. Those I increased a little bit. Urea that we use out on the runways to help mitigate some of the snow and ice. It has jumped from 300 a ton to 800 a ton. So that's gonna kind of kick us this year, I think, if we continue to have snow. If you go in and you look out at the capital improvements listed, clear down on, really, this is basically staying the same throughout. The only one is we may end up moving our, reconstruct the entrance road because the city of Burlington has Summer Street on their agenda, and I think it's up on either 2024 or 25, and so I'm working with Chad Bird a little bit so we kind of coincide those projects together. Maybe it'll save us a little money. And then last of all, you've got the list of the board members, and really hoping you guys are getting ready to fill your spot. So, anybody have any questions?
First, I missed your name, ma'am. What is it?
Sarah Sandberg.
Sarah Sandberg. Thank you.
The only question I had was on just the normal budget year. Obviously, through COVID stuff, you're at half or a third of where you were at 3 years ago. How's that affecting your overall budget, your very net income bottom line? Where are you at compared to 3 years ago?
Well, the biggest effect that it has is the PFCs, because we're not getting as many passengers. And that's basically, you get I think it's $4.25 per passenger.
Okay.
That one's getting hit. But the entitlement part of it, which would normally get hit, they have deemed using 2019 numbers, 18 or 19 numbers, whichever was highest, which we were very high back then, and so that's allowed us to get that 600,000 each year instead of 150,000. So that's where some of that's coming in. But as far as our operating pieces, you know, we've been pretty good about finding ways to cut back or save, but like I said, the thing that kind of worries me is the fuel and the chemicals.
So if you went back to 18 or 19, where was that net income number at then?
I think it was about, I'd have to look at the numbers.
Okay.
Andy, I'd have to
Okay.
go back, but I think it's pretty close to the same.
Really?
But see, our hangars, our hangar rent has
Yeah.
been increased. We did increase a little bit on farm ground because we were able to gain some farm ground for the farmers up on the north end
Okay.
with that reconstruct. So,
Okay, thank you.
any other questions I can answer?
Thank you. I think you'll find that we're going to approve somebody for the board tonight.
And just talking to people, they're excited about Cape Air too. Both people who don't live here and who do, they're like, oh, I can book the
whole itinerary.
thing. That was 1, 2 in the baggage. Those are two things, two different people have talked to me about, and so they're looking forward to it. So, good deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, do we have any citizens that want to speak or discuss on any items that are on the agenda? If not, we'll move on to new business. First item of new business is considering a resolution appointing a city clerk. Do I have a motion to approve that?
Motion to approve Kelly Fry as the city clerk?
Support.
We have a motion and support. Roll call.
Newberry,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young.
Aye, aye.
Motion is approved. Our second motion is to consider a resolution appointing a deputy city clerk. I have a motion in that.
I got a motion to approve Katie as our deputy city clerk.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Newberry.
Aye.
Motion has been approved. We have a resolution naming the city official newspaper for publications, Des Moines County News and the Hawkeye.
So moved.
So moved.
Support.
I have a question on that. Do we get a free copy of those papers for the city hall? Because we publish our minutes in there. I'm curious, do we buy a subscription?
We
We
get,
buy a subscription for the Des Moines County News. And we don't have any subscription for the Hawkeye.
we would have to buy one for the Hawkeye if we wanted a subscription for it.
Because in follow-up to our conversation earlier today to validate what's written,
Yeah,
that's probably prudent.
Yeah.
That we need a copy of what gets.
we do, I
We get
try
copies
to,
of anything that's publicized in the newspaper, but
Yeah,
they do send us a copy of that.
if I have to have something published, they'll send an affidavit showing that legal publication has been made. And a lot of times I do have to send that on to like bonding attorneys for things like that. But we always try to do the Des Moines County News, but since it's a weekly paper, once in a while, I do have to use the Hawkeye. But we just don't get a subscription.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, we can, we just haven't.
I guess the reason it's to ensure that what's written in the paper is what we're asked, what should be in the paper. The minutes are accurately reflected.
Yes.
That's
Essentially a proof. That
right,
we
that it
proved we
happened
did
like it
yeah.
said. And candidly, the recent copy, it was wrong. It had Alan Waterbury and Kathy Christie still as the council members.
Oh.
So there'll be a correction on the next issue for that,
Okay,
in the Des Moines County News.
okay. good. You got my point.
But we do get that one, so,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, a roll call vote.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Newberry. Aye. Crowner.
Aye.
Motion has been approved. Item number 4, consider adopting a governing body rules of procedure. I think you have a copy that was in that. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor, if I might, well, I guess you need a motion. Well, you don't really need a motion unless you're going to consider it tonight.
Okay. Do we want to have a discussion on this at some point to either change those rules or?
I did a brief read-through. I didn't see anything that I thought stood out as something I really wanted to change. I'll admit I didn't spend hours poring over it, but,
A lot of it is our procedures that we already follow. It just kind of puts them
Yeah.
into writing for
No
reference.
pride in
and-
authorship. I mean, we took the best from other communities to pulled everything together, make sure that it didn't conflict with what the city was already doing, put it in written copy. Same thing with the purchasing policy. The last one we have in writing was from 1993, although I believe it's actually much older than that. Found it in my old files, from 2005. But Dave's old policy from 93 was the last memo I found. and that we'd ask you to consider updating that as well. So if you're comfortable tonight, council can consider them. If you want to continue, look through the council policies, you can take another look. I mean, I guess it's up to you. But what we did is just take the best of the ones that we found and
I'd motion to table to the next meeting and just maybe have one or two more discussions on it.
Have a motion to table. Have a second?
Second.
Motion second to table until at least the next meeting. Roll call?
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Motion passes. Tabled until the next meeting. I'm assuming that the purchasing policy's same thing. Do you want to do that also as a table, or do you want to approve that one tonight?
I would motion for approval.
Support.
Support. Motion and support. Roll call.
Young,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Motion approved. Okay, we have a resolution to appoint a representative to the Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Commission. And I don't have that in front of me.
That's another one that the mayor has sat on before. It's not one that has to be the mayor. So if there's somebody that's interested in doing that.
If not, the mayor will take that as a committee he'll sit on.
who can attend.
Hans, what are the meetings scheduled for the,
Usually the last Thursday of the month at noon.
This is this board is particularly important. It takes a look at the transportation funding in particular. It's a key position that really need to be on top of in the region.
I'll go ahead and volunteer.
And are you going to do an alternate too? I'm just reading Kelly's note. She recommends an alternate.
I think we should. Are you volunteering?
Sure. I'm going to do it something anyway, so let's get those two out of the way. I got it. Sounds interesting.
All right, so do I need a motion on this to approve
Yeah.
these two? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the two positions?
So moved.
So moved?
Support?
Support. Motion and support, any discussion? No. Roll call then?
Newberry,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young.
Aye.
Okay, item number 7, appointing representative to serve as the city's representative on the Southeast Iowa Regional Airport Authority Board, appointing Hans Trausel as the city's representative.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? If not,
Mayor,
yes.
can I say something? I appreciate you appointing me tonight, but also, I don't know if I ever did or not, but I want to thank Mick Fletcher and Dennis Krieger for the time that they served as the city's representatives. I think they did an outstanding job on that board, and I hope I'll be able to continue doing that. So I appreciate the support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for continuing to serve, as always.
My wife's got to throw me out of the house. So already.
Roll call vote, please.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion's approved. Okay, do we have, is Rhonda here?
Rhonda, yeah. She's been very patient.
Okay. We have an motion, or we have an agreement that we might be doing with the City of Burlington for library services, so I'll ask Rhonda if she'd come up and make a short presentation on that.
I'm happy to. I came tonight really just to be present and available for any questions you might have, but I'm happy to talk a little bit about the agreement too. We entered into a 2080 agreement 10 years ago, so it's the final year of that agreement for library services, though Burlington and West Burlington partnered for many years to provide services to West Burlington residents. When we did the 2080 the last time, it accomplished a few things. One was to sort of simplify the whole process, and also by doing a 2080, which is that standard way of doing partnerships between communities, it put us into that. And it gave us 10 years worth. It was predictable and consistent for both parties, and also for all the residents of West Burlington. So this is a renewal of that agreement. And, one of the things I wanted to mention too is we're really happy, I know that it's the next thing on the agenda, but be happy to have a liaison to the library board. And, but for any of you, if you'd ever like to come and take a tour, I'm always happy to do that, or I can come back and give a presentation about library services. Of course, a lot has changed in 10 years, a lot of new things are available, so if at any time you want me to come and do more on that, I'm always happy to talk about that too.
So am I seeing, I think I'm reading this right, the past agreement was a 2% annual increase, and we're moving from that to a 15 cent per year
It's
increase?
actually the opposite. So the current agreement that
Oh,
ends this
okay,
year
gotcha.
took the population by the 15 cents. And both are shown there because when we met and talked about it, there was a question about how would it work if we were with the current one. And because West Burlington's population increased, it actually is less over the next 10 years to go with the 2% increase that we have in the agreement than it would be if we kept the way that it was and put in the new higher population. And I guess I have every reason to believe that in another 10 years, West Burlington's population is probably going up again. So this, we thought, would be another way to continue to keep it simple. That 2% makes it a little simpler and not have to keep changing that and have any unexpected increases in the future when population changes.
So what was the cost last year?
So this current year, so in that sheet you have there, it shows the current year, the fiscal year 22 at the top there, as $48,526.80.
Page 93.
Well, I'm not sure if they have page numbers on there.
Oh. It would be the last page of the item.
Okay, thank you.
48,526.
It's the last page of this particular agenda item.
So page 4, yeah. On the attachment, page 4 on the attachment.
It's right after the agreement, I think.
It's, Johnny,
Yeah.
here, it's on
Yeah.
this.
I just can't get there.
Can't get there, okay.
Yeah, so the second one there is just to show that comparison, so you can see what that change did.
So how do you keep stats at all on West Burlington citizens' usage?
We don't regularly run that, so I wouldn't be able to say offhand how that's changed over the years. We find with our system, it's not always very consistent in the way that it does it, but we do have sort of the number of people that have cards over the years, and we have very strong, I consider pretty strong usage. I don't have those numbers with me today, but we do get a lot of people from West Burlington that use the library.
If you were to guess a lot, just a guess, throw out there.
And I'm sorry, I should have looked that up. I looked up a couple other different things before I came, but I didn't do that.
What's your annual budget, just roughly, like?
It's about 1.4 million for the
Okay, and so our pay into it is a small portion. It's not like half or something, just to give you a feeling.
Yeah, I'll be presenting to the Burlington Council next Tuesday. They're starting their budget process. I'll be doing that presentation next week.
And where's the majority of your funding come from?
City of Burlington.
It is City of Burlington, and we're a portion. And what other communities provide you funding?
Middletown contracts for services, and so does the county. They count for their rural residents.
Gotcha. I guess I'd be interested in, not now and let budgets happen, but April or May or so, to have you return and bring us some of the statistics maybe that we asked for, and tell us what has changed in the last 10 years. You know, what a library is today isn't what it was 10, 20 years ago, but what is that?
Right.
Maybe we could find a council meeting that would be appropriate at. And maybe once our new board members get on your council, that'd be helpful too.
And I did bring with me tonight, and I can leave these, but I brought some of our most recent newsletter and some other flyers about some of the services that we offer that I can leave if you want to look at those. And we will be sending over, so maybe some of the new people on the council didn't get them, but hopefully, those who've been on for have been getting our newsletters to help you keep up to date on what's going on at the library too.
Just one more question. Does the library do much with any of the schools specifically?
Yes.
What do you do with this?
We do after-school programs. We go to those, and we offer to go into classrooms and do book talks. So we do some of those. We have an outreach program for preschools, and it's actually a West Burlington resident here who's been who does those visits, and she goes to all the preschools and Head Start, and once a month gives story times at those. So Kathy's been doing that for several years. So those are just a few of the outreach things that we do.
Do you do anything specific, like with West Burlington Elementary or West Burlington Junior High or high school?
You know, I'd have to check with them if we've done anything recently. I know we have in the past gone into some of the different classes. And I know, like I say, she goes to all the different preschools in the area, but I'm not sure if they've been going to any of those. They'd be happy to do it, though.
How about, go ahead.
I say when you come back, probably in second quarter, if you could bring that information just for
Yeah,
our...
absolutely.
They do a pretty extensive summer program. I know my children have participated quite a bit in their activities that way.
And our winter reading program starts up on the 17th. So we're doing a winter reading program for all ages. We have a new staff member whose focus is just on outreach and programs. And so I'm excited. She hasn't been here for 2 months, and has already been doing quite a few things. So I know she's going to be looking for more of those outreach opportunities too.
So, question I've always had, and I don't think this exists, but correct me if I'm wrong, is why we don't have, whether it be preschool or kindergarten or first grade, every West Burlington kid come down and have a field trip day and get signed up for their card and learn how to go through the library and find books. And I find reading, especially as you do it outside of school, to be a very important thing. And so I'd like to promote that, but it feels like there's a large disconnect between the school district and the library.
We are absolutely happy to do tours. We do tours for different classes that come to us and ask for that, so we'd be happy to do that.
Okay. Well, I know we're not sitting on that board at this moment, but I think as a city, if we're going to put this money into it, I'd like to promote that as much as we can from our end. So if that's something even I personally can help with, please reach out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay. And we do, like for summer reading, obviously not in the last recent years, but in the past, we would go and do assemblies at the different schools, and we went to West Burlington as well to promote the summer reading program.
Yeah, I think you have to get them in the door. Get them in the door, get them a card. Otherwise, they don't know where they're going. They don't know their way around. It's a big, scary place that they don't know until they get in there and get used to it. So I think if we could find a way to do that, and I'm happy to help coordinate some of that.
That'd be great, yeah. And we offer a few different programs, and I know I'm supposed to come back to talk about all the programs, but I'll just briefly say, we do offer some programs, like also on the 17th weekly classes for young kids and teens. And one of the other things we offer is 1,000 books before kindergarten, which is we've offered for the last couple of years now. but trying to get kids as young as possible to get acclimated with the library.
Yeah.
And we have what we call Babies Need Books. So every child that's born at our local hospital, the family gets a book and some information about the library as well. So I agree, we're trying to catch families as early as possible to let them know about what's available for them.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Trussell?
I've been involved with the library for a number of years, and I think what I would recommend that the council do tonight is to go ahead and approve that 2080 agreement. It really doesn't matter what the numbers are. I mean, if you're worried about numbers, whether you have 1 or 1,000, you can't start a library of your own for $48,000. There's no way you can do that. So, you know, the 2080 agreement is there, and it's a good agreement, and it has been. And I remember when, at one time, and I don't remember if Johnny was on the council or not, but if you want to fill this room with citizens, talk about not wanting to approve a library agreement.
I was here.
Well, with that said, I'm going to make a motion that we enter into the agreement with the library services in the new agreement with the 2% annual increase.
Support.
Support? Well, with support and motion, let's have a roll call.
Young? Aye. Newberry?
Aye.
Crowner?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Please.
Aye.
Motion approved.
You know, if I could just add to that, though, what Andy was saying, I think that's really a good idea. And I'm not for sure where that disconnect is, that it hasn't been happening, but I'm sure we can figure that out.
Just one speculation is, I know we don't get nearly as many classes come to us with field trips and things like that we did maybe in some past years. I think transportation's been an issue for schools and getting out, but we'd be happy to look at some ways that we can maybe come to them if they can't come to us, and maybe find a grade that it works for them to come and visit us. That would be wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, I think COVID last year upset the whole apple cart.
The whole apple cart, but it really wasn't happening before
Now we
that
gotta
either.
plant some more trees.
so-
We planted
No,
the trees
I
by
think it's a good
going into
idea.
this agreement, and I'm hoping the school system picks up the ball and goes.
Yeah.
There's probably some ways that we as a city council can promote, the library services also, whether it's through our website or something like that. So I look forward to a report from you
Yeah, great.
and maybe our new representative. So
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be
Thank you
great.
very
Thank you.
much.
Yes, and as I say, if you ever want to come for a tour, I'd be happy to give any of you a tour as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thanks,
coming.
Rhonda, thanks.
Okay, well, our next item of business is considering a representative to serve as the city's liaison on the Burlington Public Library Board. And we would be appointing Rebecca Teeter. I happen to know her fairly well.
This is a non-voting member. It's a liaison, but it's a great way for us to find out what's going on so we can help promote, all other programs and things. So it's nice to have you interested in doing that for us.
I will motion to approve, and thank you for your willingness to serve.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call.
Newberry?
Aye.
Crowner?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Lees?
Aye.
Young?
Aye.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Thanks, Becky.
We have a motion consider appointing a member to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and that would be Blake Ruther, or two of them, Blake Ruther and Sandy Lee.
Blake is a reappointment. He's willing to serve another term on the commission. We have a couple other new ones, and we still have one vacancy on the commission if anybody else might be interested in doing that. But Blake has agreed to another term, which is nice to have somebody continue on that has some knowledge of some of the processes. So.
Motion to approve both.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
When do those meet? Do we know?
We usually, they're trying to meet at least 4 times a year. quarterly, January,
April, June, October,
yeah.
or July, October, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then if something comes in, like if somebody comes in with a subdivision or zoning request, we will meet more than that. And actually, we will be starting to look at the comprehensive plan and some updates to that, so there may be some more meetings, but we usually meet at 6 o'clock at night on usually a Thursday seems to work for this group, but.
That's something I would be willing to serve on if needed.
That one is, I don't think you can be the.
Oh, you can't? Okay.
You can't, well, what we need is somebody from the council to be like the liaison.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a non-voting member, but it
Yeah.
would be the liaison to keep that communication open between the two, so that'd be great.
Sure.
Do we need a motion on that, or is that something we can just,
I think that we don't need an emotion on that one. We
Okay.
can just,
okay.
Kathy could just be our appointment. Thank you for doing that.
Sounds great.
We have a motion and support for 2 approvals here. Roll call.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Newberry.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Appointments to the Board of Adjustment, reappointments of Randy Fry and Dennis Flowers.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
We did make these staggering terms at some point with people resigning and getting off. We had them kind of all starting to expire at the same time. So it was kind of hard talking one of them into doing it again, but he's willing to do it if, for that 3-year term for now, which is fine, but it kind of helps us get them staggered a little
Staggered
bit,
back.
so we're not dropping more than 1, 2 off at a time.
Okay. Roll call.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Hey, Ron, on that, is that committee full then, or is there one empty spot still?
Somebody from the Planning and Zoning Commission is appointed to serve on the Board of Adjustment. So P and Z will appoint one of their members.
Oh, that's what that means.
To fill that extra spot.
Thank you.
And it just happened that Bob Christie was the appointment.
Thank you.
We need to consider change order number 4 from the Boomerang Corporation for the Mount Pleasant Water Tower and Booster Station project.
Mike, do you mind giving a 3-sentence why this is?
I don't have that in front of me, that copy, I'm not sure what
This
this
is
one.
the item that we made council aware of at the last council meeting. This has to do with the water tower project. This is the work that was done at the intersection of Gear and Mount Pleasant, if you recall.
yeah.
We talked
Okay.
about the casings, and we wanted to make council aware of this before the work was done. So we brought it up at the last council meeting before the, before the work was done. So you'll see the, this is the actual change order for the work that we discussed at the last meeting. This is the casing, Mike, that was removed. That's the deduct, and then the additional work. Net change order amount, and 1,336. Excuse me.
Motion approved.
Excuse me.
Support.
Motion and support. Roll call.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Consider payment to Snyder and Associates for engineering services related to the following projects. The South Lift Station project at 1,105.56. The Des Moines County Landfill Lift Station project at 1,006.22. And the Mount Pleasant Water Tower and Booster Station project at $4,144.08.
Motion to approve all 3 invoices?
Support.
Motion and support. Roll call.
Young,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Number 14, consider entering into a contract with Motorola Solutions for our police department's reporting software. discussion on this?
Any questions? We've been kind of discussing that several times over the last few months, and Burlington and the Sheriff's Department both, like I posted here, have it on their upcoming council. Well, Burlington just approved theirs Monday. I think the Sheriff's Department may have approved theirs yesterday too, so we're the last one.
Motion to approve.
Support.
I wanted to make a couple comments, and one is, I'm in favor of this, and everything I've read looks like it, and then we also get put in that position where there's all these other entities involved, and we're kind of the low man, so I guess voting on it, I feel like I have to, because we're kind of down the line and a small part of it, but in the future, I'd really like, when these conversations start, and this goes with anybody that's dealing with these other entities, this would have been a lot better if we could discuss it in the budget sessions
We
and then
talked
vote
about
on
it
it.
last year in the budget sessions. That's why we have $20,000 this year. Just at that time, we weren't for sure what the total project was going to cost. At that time, I said $100,000 for us, and when we're under that at $70,000.
Yeah.
So we did talk, and that's why we do have $20,000 this year for it. And we just didn't know how long the process was going to take to get in effect, so.
Okay. That's my only mention on it, because I'm for it, it's just,
Yeah.
this would be a lot better for everybody. I think Burlington's probably looking at the same thing 2 months from now, when we kind of know, okay, this is exactly where we're at on the figures. But-
Yep, it's just hard when we do budget talks in January and that they don't take effect until July, and then you got a whole nother year, so you're always looking at 18 months in advance of what you're gonna spend in the next 8 or 12, from months 12 to 18, so we did have a lengthy discussion last year during budget talks on this, and it was just one of those things that we knew our current product was at the end of life, and we had to move somewhere else with it, so.
We have a motion?
Believe you already had it.
Do I already had, okay, I'm sorry. Roll call then?
Newberry. Aye. Crowner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Young.
Aye.
Motion carried. We've come up on old business, and I have to admit that I forgot to ask the council members for any of their statements that they wanted to here at the beginning when we were going through the reports. Do I have Andy?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
I'm good.
Good. One, good job on the snow removal. Two, Ron, are you gonna do set mayor hours or something up here or not?
I'm planning to come in at about 9 o'clock on Fridays and maybe stay till noon.
Okay, all right.
That's my plan right now.
Gotcha. I was just curious. I heard different things. I just wanted to touch
Yeah.
base with you on that. Somewhere about a month or two or three ago, Mike brought up a mass texting program or something so that we can communicate with the residents and, like, for example, snow or whatever. Is that, someone got the ball on that, of what it's gonna cost to do or not do?
It's in the proposed budget.
It's in the budget, we're gonna talk about it. Awesome, okay, I just didn't wanna lose that one. Good job on the open house on December 15th, everybody. I think, gave Hans a nice send-off. That was cool. Good to go. All right, you're welcome. Final question. What kind of feedback did we get from the newsletters from residents volunteering or raising their hand to be on these committees? Kelly, did we?
One application for the Animal Control Board.
That's all that resulted from that?
Yeah.
Darn. Okay, so,
Don't be surprised.
Okay.
It's a difficult piece. I've reached out any number of methods and at presentations, at speeches, at various clubs, social media, websites, handouts, discussions, conversations. I've had 3x4 cards with me, if you're interested.
I've done the same thing. People sometimes won't even make eye contact.
It's very
with me.
difficult. It's very difficult, and but keep trying. That's all I can say, just keep trying.
Figure it out, you let the fire service know, because not just West Burlington, but nationwide, we're hurting for volunteers, so that's the key question is, how do we get people to volunteer, not just for the fire department, but for the city, for these various committees and projects?
You bet, you bet. Well, and I think of that as we have the 4th of July celebration coming up, and my guess is it's a lot of volunteer hours make that happen, or we're paying people to do it. And so to have celebrations like that, we need people to step up. To have committees, we need people to step up, to have effective participation in where our money goes, like the library, like the airport. We need people to step up and represent our community on these committees. And so that's one way to get that committee. Another way is when people listen to council meetings to realize this isn't magic and it doesn't all just happen. It's individual effort by individual people, some paid, some volunteers. So we need folks to step up. So thanks, Kelly. I just wanted to get an understanding of how effective that was.
But with that, on Facebook, good old Facebook, have we gotten any complaints from people about the increase in their water?
I have not, of course, answered phone calls. I did hear one gentleman at the counter ask Katie if the rates had gone up, and she said that they had, and he was just wondering because his bill was higher. He wanted to make sure he didn't have something leaking, but he really didn't complain about it. He said, he did say it didn't go up as much as his electric.
Phew.
I did receive a couple of complaints.
But Katie might have, I just haven't been out front answering calls, so.
And just question, ABB, anything new on that property? Anything happening over there that anybody can share with us? Is there action on showing it or touring it, or?
I know they've shown it a few times, but nothing public and nothing recent.
Okay, I was just curious since,
Nothing recent that I've heard in the past 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks.
I heard that they cleaned the snow out of the parking lot, and nobody's there.
They would have just moved down the road a bit, that would have been much more help.
Nobody's there.
They did their sidewalk.
No, they didn't. We did that.
Well, somebody did.
Thank you. And the water, final comment, the water work the DOT did under the bridge on West Burlington Avenue, it worked. The sidewalk is not wet, wasn't tonight, and I know previous years it would have been based on how that works. So what they did, at least this time, it seems to have helped.
The DOT had a miscommunication on that too. They were supposed to take the center grass out too, to make that all rock to drain that way. You got rock and grass, so Lamont said he was going to keep an eye on that, and if that did become an issue in that area, that they would come back and core that out and put rock there too, to keep the flow of the water sifting through, so.
Cool, thanks, because this evening, the guy was walking under there, and I was driving there, and he got to stay on the sidewalk, and it wasn't icy, and win for people working together. That's all I got, thank you.
At this point, do we have any citizen comments on anything? If not, we need to go into closed session. So I need someone to make a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Support?
Second.
Support. Okay. Motion support. Roll call vote.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Could you please read section 1?
Oh, the council will hold a session in accordance with Iowa Code, Section 21.5.1, letter I, to evaluate the professional competency of an individual whose appointment, hiring, performance, or discharge is being considered when necessary to prevent needless and irreparable injury to that person's reputation, and that individual requests a closed session. Do I need the second one here?
No, we'll have to come out and
Oh,
then,
you do the second one, all right. Well, I do have a motion and a second on closed session, so roll call.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Okay.
Can we take
What
just
is
a
staying
minute?
here again?
Yes.
I need to run get my tape.
We need a short
Thank you.
break.